Hello and welcome. Felicia Lonobile from Love Yourself Coaching. Thank you for joining us this evening. So when two or more people come together in conversation, a synergy happens and ideas that would not otherwise come to mind reveal themselves. And that is the magic of the mastermind. Today, we are here to use the power of a mastermind to answer your questions. Now, you may ask, who are we? Well, we are a group of 8 life enhancers who are highly trained, deeply intuitive, and have a passion for helping people. We are here to help you take the steps to live a life you love living. We do have a disclaimer, however. We are not doctors or therapists. It is important that you seek medical direction from licensed doctors in regard to any medical conditions. We simply offer alternative thought patterns, not with the intent to replace medical advice in any way, shape, or form, but to enhance understanding of yourself. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Felicia. Hello, my name's Athina Salazar, and I am the Chief Possibility Officer with my company, Life to Design, and one of the members of Mastermind Magic. So today, we encourage you to comment, give us some comments on the side. If you have any questions that come to mind during the presentation, feel free to put those into the chat area and we can receive those and be able to respond to those for you. So you're welcome to do that. You'll find that on the right-hand side of your screen. Also, if you're watching this in a replay, there may be a button at the top for you to reconnect if we freeze or anything like that. So that is available to you. And on the site itself, you may see some share buttons for Facebook and Twitter and all of those different social media channels. So we encourage you to share this video with your friends and your family, whoever you would like to share it with. So we're here to help you. And in that way, at the end of this webinar today, we are providing a special gift for you. So when it comes to the end, we'll go ahead and talk about that with you. So also remember to follow us on Facebook. You'll get alerts of when our webinars are going to be happening, events in the area, or any of those things. So in the chat area at the very top, you'll be able to see the little sticky message. And if you haven't already, feel free to like us on Facebook and you can see that and you can be in contact with any of us here at Mastermind Magic. So today we are following on with our Working with the Law series. So this year, all 12 months, we are going over all of the universal laws and diving into each of those. So last month, we were talking about success at that point. This month, we're actually talking about non-resistance, so the law of non-resistance. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring Andrea up, and she is going to go over the law with us, and Felicia and I are going to be adding some insight, some perspective, and some other stories for you as well. So we'll go ahead and bring her up, and if you are watching this in a replay and you want to catch some of those other laws that we've talked about already this year, you can check us up on Facebook and it has the links inside of the event. So you can watch those there. So hello, Andrea. We will.
Hello. Okay, so we're in month 8, which is the law of non-resistance. And whoa, our slides like to have a mind of their own. So let's get back to where we should be. There we go. The law of non-resistance. And there's a perfect example. We just keep moving and let life flow. So the first thing is resistance fails because it is not in accord with harmony and order, which is the law. Harmony and order. We don't think, we always, as a society, we think we're going to break down as we get older, or that life is going to be hard, or that some obstacle we need to war against drugs, war against people, fight. And if we adopt the idea of non-resistance, you'll find that things dissolve right before your very eyes.
Yeah, and it also, on this slide, it talks about harmony and order and really balance. That's where we're looking at. We were talking a little while ago, and I was mentioning, if you know anything about science, there's the concept of homeostasis. And with homeostasis in your body, everything is balancing out. That's why sometimes you might feel really exhausted about something, and it really helps you to remove the resistance, which is you taking a nap. You're kind of resetting yourself to, that even vibration at that point. That's like, knock it down for a minute, you gather yourself together, and then you can go again. So also in your eating patterns, sometimes you might gravitate towards certain things. And for me, there's been situations where it's like, I really need my vegetables to clean me out, so your body's trying to come back to its order and its harmony. So that was something that I was thinking of while we were going through that slide.
Okay, so.
Oh, and I think, does Felicia have a comment? I think you're on mute.
Oh, I'm
yes,
sorry.
I apologize. I was on mute. My apologies. So what I was saying is that working with the law or working for the law, it's really beneficial to all of us once we understand and know the law of non-resistance. But we have a tendency of either not knowing or doing it unconsciously and always working against the law or working through struggles, but in the wrong way. And then we feel or we believe that it's because we're, like they were saying, getting older, the illness start to come, or whatever else, any struggles or challenges that you may be facing. But once you know and understand the law, we're going to talk about this law further today. You see, if you apply it in the way that you should apply it, life does become easier if you let it flow through you. Thank you.
No question. Okay, the law does not require us to work over or against the things we do not want. The law requires us to work with and for what we do want. And that, again, that goes back to like the war on drugs. You can never solve a problem with the same energy that created it. So, yes. So you want to move past the problem and to the solution. And that's what non-resistance requires us to do, is to look past the circumstance and find the answer.
Yeah, definitely. And you're being open to the channel of your solutions that way, because whatever we focus on expands. So if we're looking at something that we don't want, that rock is going to keep getting larger in front of us. But if we're looking at the flow of the water that's beyond the rock is going to get smaller and the more flow is going to come to us. That's what we're actually wanting to receive. So it's focusing on what it is that we do want. And a lot of people have the issue where they think that they have to go over a problem or a situation and dissect that situation and keep focusing on it. But when they're doing that, that's creating it larger and larger, when what they could do is maybe briefly look at that, see what it is that you learned from that. How can you look at it from a different perspective, sort of like looking over the stone and looking at a different way, and then moving on from there. Like you're just flowing down the river, you're moving around things. I think it was Bruce Lee was talking about how having movement like water and having flow, it's the same type of situation.
And exactly as we've said so far, as humans, we have a tendency of looking and focusing on the problem instead of looking for a solution, which also we can look at it and say we are type of people that we react. A human will react to a problem instead of thinking and pondering and trying to find the solution, because the solution is there. If we go within and we listen to that small, still voice, you will get a nudge or an impulse or an idea for you to take a certain step or action to get you to where you want to go, instead of just focusing on the problem, which is so easy, and it comes so easy for us humans to do.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to identify a problem than it is to come up with a solution. And some of what I think all of us have provided to our clients is a technique where you ask a question and you ask that question in the evening and then you sleep on it. Don't ever expect the answer to your question to come at the same time that you asked it. It's going to come at a different time when you're ready to receive something in a different place. Because if you're upset and angry about something in that moment, the answer that will help you to move forward is not going to be the answer that you receive in that moment. So being mindful of that.
Right, that energy that you're in shuts down the answers. And yes. to stay focused on what you do want in any situation. If you're fighting with someone that you love, you know, you may in that moment of anger want to be fighting, but that's not what you want. You want to be closer to them and you want that situation resolved. So always keep in mind what you do want and work towards that, and answers will come to that intention.
Yeah, and there's one visual that was coming to mind is, say you're in a cellar. If you know what a cellar is, it has the doors that open up that you can come out of the cellar. And you know, like you're in the cellar and you're coming out ready to go on to the next thing. But then as soon as you have that emotional anger or anything like that, basically you just took the shutters in and slammed them shut. And then the only place that you can get answers is right there in that room, when what you really require is what's beyond that door.
Right.
So that's one way.
Or what you can do is press the pause button. We also use that tool. When the chatter is too much, just press the pause button and come back to it at a later date.
Yeah, it's like live TV. It's like live TV. You just stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's see what else we have here. And this is the perfect analogy, in my opinion, for the law of non-resistance. A stream does not waste any time with obstacles. It quietly works its way around and hurries on. You know, the Colorado River started out as a tiny little stream, and look what it did. It created the Grand Canyon because it was persistent, and it had one path, and that was to the ocean. And however it was going to get there is how it got there. And that's the way water is. It never worries about what's in its way. It either goes over or around. And that's how we have to constantly think, is just like water. There may be something in the way. How can we go over or around, or maybe under?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. And if you've ever seen, like, walking down on a sidewalk where there's like, how is there grass in this sidewalk? You know, it's the grass, as it was growing, it was going where there was the least resistance, or there was space and cracks and things, and it would just moved its way up very slowly. So a blade of grass, just, you would think that it just broke through the cement, but it was really just going in all of those non-resistant places and maneuvering itself. When something can be so strong and hard, there's still that space to be able to have non-resistance.
And when you see that nothing is working for you, you just feel overwhelmed, you feel scared, you feel angry, whatever the emotion is. At that point, you just need to just let go, which is releasing and taking a big sigh. And you really feel the shift happening when you do that. And I've done that myself. I've had situations where I've done that. I take a deep breath, let it go, press the pause button, or I've even scheduled an appointment 3 days out with either fear or anger or whatever it was. And by the time the third day came up, either I found a solution for it, or lo and behold, the problem was resolved. It resolved itself. So that's because I decided to let go and not deal with the situation in that moment, because nothing was working. My small mind could not help me see clarity through my problem. And so doing that, it helped me. So just wanted to share that with you. I practice that too often.
Yeah, and in line with that, Felicia, you were talking about the different emotions that come up. And for some people, they believe that I shouldn't cry or I shouldn't do that. And those feelings really build up in you. And
Yes.
similar to the stream analogy, just let it flow. Like
Yes.
if that's what it is, and you're crying about it, and just let it out. Just let it out. Let the flow go through, and you'll actually feel that in your body as well. You'll feel that release. Be like, whew, okay, that felt good. I had an overabundance. It flowed around it, and now I can keep moving forward. So, yeah.
Yeah. So another example is that it's not, remember, it's not the movement of a machine that wears it out. It's the friction that breaks it down. That's why we put oil in our engine. That's why we oil machines. That's why we would never go down a slide that was dry. You know, like that hurts. We all know that hurts. Non-resistance is the key to life being easy. And life can be easy. Just like Felicia said and Athina said, allow life to be and just let it flow. Because whenever we fight against something, it's going to fight back.
Exactly.
And the harder we fight, the stronger it fights back.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like you're going through, the glass doors where you're pushing against it, but you're supposed to pull.
Right.
Like stuck right there. So that would be one. And then the other thing on the machinery, I heard that with airplanes, they break down when they're not in the air flying. Right. Like they'll break down faster if they're grounded for too long. So that's where just keeping things in motion, and there's less resistance when you're just flying around. So that's what you want to be doing, is flying.
Same thing with our bodies, like what Andrea was saying. If you're not flowing positive energy, eventually your body breaks down. And how does it break down? You start having illnesses. But then we have an excuse for that. We say, well, it's because we're getting older. So it's all the resistant thoughts that we have, all this energy, blocked energy in our bodies. If that makes sense, it breaks down our body. But if you start letting go and letting life flow right through you, first of all, your cells, your body cells are going to love you for it, because you're breathing in, breathing out. We are love. We are the spirit people. That's how we should be living our daily life. Letting it breathe, like our breath. You breathe in, you breathe out. So that's how life is. And if we could do that, then our bodies have no reason to break down, ever, regardless of how old you are. Do you agree, ladies?
Oh, Felicia, absolutely. And I can just hear people saying, oh, listen to her, it's all about love. Well, yeah, it is. It is all about love. What Felicia is saying is true. Whenever we hold an emotion in our bodies, or in our mind, it goes into the cells of our bodies and it gets trapped. And then, your arm starts to hurt, or your leg starts to hurt, or your back, whatever, it's going to go somewhere. So if you let it feel it, we're not saying don't feel it. We're saying feel it, let it go, let it flow through your body, and see the good that is there for it. Why is it here? And just like Felicia said, love. If we move into what would I love and to loving thoughts of other people,
yes,
you're gonna feel a whole lot better. This woman speaks the truth.
Yeah. And thinking about, like, what does it feel like when you have a nice belly laugh? You just feel so alive when you have that. And recently I was talking with a friend of mine. She's actually going through cancer treatments, and this is the second time that this has happened to her. And she goes, I know the first time I had cancer, it was because I was holding on to anger about things. I just know that was what it was, and it just built up in me, and I just didn't allow things to happen. I didn't express things. So then I just held everything in, and it just manifested itself in that way, because your cells are in disharmony, like we were talking about at the very beginning, having that homeostasis, your body wasn't balanced. So you have all of these different chemicals going on in your body of fear and anger and fight or flight and all of that, and it just built up and built up with her, so she shared that with me. So it speaks to what both Andrea and Felicia were talking about.
All that resistance leads to disharmony and dis-ease.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, and we've said this already before in this webinar, but what we give energy to expands, whether it's good or bad. It doesn't matter. The law is a non-respecter of your thought. It just works. And if you're thinking something negative, it will surely grow as quickly as something positive. So if we give our energy to the obstacles, we're going to get more of that.
Yeah, something that came to mind is I had somebody that I know. He came to me with a handful of like nuts and bolts and things like that, and I was like, oh, where did you get that? And he was like, oh, they're all over the road, and it's causing punctures and tires and all of this. And for me, I've never had that, because I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for a road where I'm going to be able to drive my car and get to my destination. And it's all like he's had popped out tires and all of these things. He's looking for it. He's giving energy to it. He's saying, come to me, all of these different things, so I can have this. So, and we'll provide.
The law of non-resistance, it's not like a parent, like a mom or a dad that says, oh, look at Andrea or look at Athina. She doesn't mean that. She's not wanting to have those thoughts. I need to help them. She wants the opposite. The law doesn't discriminate. If you're thinking it, it's going to expand and you're going to get more of it. So if it's a situation that you're not happy in, the longer you stay focused in that situation, the faster that situation is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger until it's in your face. And now you're overwhelmed. You don't know what to do. You don't know how to get out of it. It's painful. It's that's what happens with the law. So that's why we say work with the law, because if you work with it, oh my God, how beautiful. What life do you get to live? Because you deserve it. And we all merit to live that life, but you need to use the law for you.
Right.
That's all we're saying here.
And that's the key thing too, that through all of what we're showing is that you find out for yourself. As much as you even have a friend or maybe you're a parent and see that with your child struggling through something, if they're asking for the advice, they really have the answers inside of them because it's their thoughts. So they're the only ones that are going to be able to attract what it is that they want or keep away what it is that they want. And they're the only ones that can do that. We can't do it for anyone. So as much as we would desire to do that, it's all of our own responsibilities for ourselves to understand what's there and understand what we're putting out there and moving about the world that we're in. So
absolutely.
So
when it comes to love, here we go, Felicia, this is for you.
I love it.
To extend a loving thought to anyone or anything removes the opposition that once seemed there. And that's what forgiveness is all about.
Yes.
It removes the block in us to love's presence. So a loving thought towards anything. I'll give you an example. I'm moving soon, and the house is not zoned commercially. And I went to the town and they said to me, well, you're going to have to get all of the approval from all of your neighbors. And she said it ominously. And I looked at her and I said, well, that's an opportunity for me to get to know my neighbors, And she's like, wow, that's a great way to look at it. I said, it's the only way to look at it, But I'm well versed in looking at a condition and seeing it as an opportunity as opposed to an obstacle. And all it takes is practice. I'm not any better than anybody else. I've just been practicing longer. That's all it is. And am I always perfect at it? Heck no. But I try whenever I can. And as long as we're more on than off, it works really well.
Yes, it does. And to add to Andrea, when you're looking at a person and you're not appreciating how the person is responding or treating you, step back and look in and say, how am I looking at that person? What thoughts am I having about that person? Because remember, the law of non-resistance is going to give you more of what you're thinking about. So if you're thinking it, and then you're expecting the person to treat you with love, but you're looking at her with hate or distaste, how can that person return the love? It has to start from you first, always. And like Andrea says, and Athina, I've been practicing this longer, but I'm not perfect at it. I keep falling in the same challenge, and then I just stop myself and I say, what am I doing? I know the universal laws, how they work. So you need to step back. If you want to be treated well, treat that person well. If you want to receive love, love that person first. It always starts with us. Everything starts with us because the law is going to expand what we're thinking about.
That's so true. And I've actually in this local area, and I actually have a webinar coming up where it's talking about in business, a lot of people are attracting their clients, the same with us, we're attracting clients that are like us, so, and also the thoughts that you have when you're interacting with your client, if you're approaching them with a doubtful thought about yourself and what you're offering to them, then they're going to approach you with hesitation, or they're going to do things like that. So like Felicia said, it all starts with the thought that you have, and then that's going to be reflected back to you, and then in your body language, how you're communicating with the person.
So this removal is exactly what Felicia was saying. You have to remove it in your consciousness first.
Mm-hmm.
And once that thought of hatred is removed, you're not going to see it again. Because the way you look at things, if you change the way you look at things, things change. I think Wayne Dyer said that.
Yes.
And it's absolutely the truth. If you look at something and you say, oh my God, that's awful, it's going to be awful. But if you look at something and say, I love that, or there's got to be good in that, it's going to go so much better in your head. And that's where everything starts.
Yeah, and I think all of us have coached people through forgiveness and going through that, because many of us, when we've been growing up, maybe we didn't like how our parents were treating us. Mm-hmm. You have a lot of those feelings, and then you're able to reflect now on the situation, and it could have been at that point in their lives, they didn't have the skill set to be able to communicate in a certain way that they really would have desired. And then I've had people where they look at the situation again and be like, I really feel I have a different feeling towards them now. One of compassion, because if I were in those shoes, I would have been frustrated. I would have been like that. And at that point, I wouldn't have known how to handle that situation. So then the looking at that changes, the feeling of it changes. So whenever we have a different awareness about something, and we can look at something from a different perspective, then it's like we're moving to the area of non-resistance and towards that love or that understanding. And it's not to say that what they did was right at that time. It's just looking at it from a different perspective. So it helps you. So it helps you and what you're feeling and what you're going through, because if you continuously bring up those feelings that you had of how you were back then, you're bringing that to your now state, like what's happening in your environment right now. So now you're going to be attracting more of how that feeling made you feel. instead of moving from that.
And at the end, Athina, what's more important, to be right or to be happy with any situation or condition? That's very important. I'd rather be happy than right, because right is not going to give you anything. You're just going to live in those emotions, that negativity, that you're better or you're going to compete or whatever the situation is. But if you tell yourself, you know what, it is what it is. It may be the truth. It may not be the truth, but I'm looking to be happy, because when I'm happy, I feel good and good things come into my life.
Yeah, and I think, and I'm sure some of you have seen those pictures where there's the older woman and the younger woman in the same picture, and people are looking at the same thing, but everybody has that different viewpoint on it.
Right. Everybody sees something different, and nobody's wrong.
No.
And
No.
in any situation, you can be in a room and another person can be in a room experiencing what seems to be exactly the same thing. There's only one thing going on, but both people see it completely differently. So there's going to be, however many people are in that room, that's how many different perspectives there's going to be. And nobody is actually wrong.
Yeah, no. And that's so true. I was actually working with some people, and there was a group in the room, probably about 25 people or so, and just the concept of water. Like they said, what does water mean to you? And then you're supposed to write it down, your top 5 things, and then share them with your neighbor. It's all like, and in the top 5, everybody didn't have the same answer. And that was on one word. That was on water.
Absolutely.
Like think about, a whole complex situation, how it could be completely different for each person. Yeah.
Okay. So the highest good within you will only attract the highest good from another. When we are working from our highest self and our highest good, if you expect from someone their highest good, that's what you will get. I watched a video on bullying, and this man was bullying this girl, and when she fought against it, she got more bullying. But when she came from her highest self, and all she kept saying to him was he was kind, and he was attractive, and he was funny, and he was and the first word or two didn't bring out the best, right? But then he realized she's just seeing the good, and all of his defenses were gone, and it just disappears.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this also speaks to when you're looking for a coach, when you're looking for somebody to help you to progress to where it is that you're wanting to go, that person themselves, like when I'm looking for mentors or things like that, they're looking at the highest version that they can see of me. I may be, right here, right now, doing what I'm doing, but they can see that potential in me. They can see where I can be. And then they're encouraging that and supporting that and being able to give their perspective. And then they know that it's my decision on any of those advice that they're giving or anything like that. But I'm seeing that they're seeing that for the highest good that they see in me. So I appreciate that, and finding a coach that does that for you. They're not going to jump into that lifeboat that's sinking with you. They're going to be saying, you can get out of that lifeboat. You can get to a different place instead of staying in that story of either the past or something that keeps you down and keeps you in that resistance and that feeling.
Whenever you're giving, I don't know, this is just coming up for me. Whenever we're giving, whether it's in time or emotions or feelings, whatever it is, every time you're giving, it's coming back to you. You're ready to receive the goodness. So if you're giving good, the highest good at you want to give it to someone else, it's reciprocal. It's going to come back to you. It always does. So when you're giving, give thinking, what would I want to receive? Instead of just giving something that you probably don't care, or you feel like maybe it's going to make me look good if I do this. There's no point in that, because again, what you think about expands. So if you mean it from your heart and you're giving it from yourself, your love, your highest good, then you know it's coming right back. And there's no better feeling than that when you're doing something that's coming from the heart, always really wanting the best for that person. The more you want the best for that person, the more shall come back to you. It's just beautiful when you start to understand the way the laws are working.
Yeah, and especially like you're talking about, Felicia, in personal relationships, the giving, you know, and the receiving, when you're interacting with people. And Gary Vaynerchuk wrote the book, I think it was Jab, 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 Right Hook. And it talks about, from a business perspective, giving, you know, give content, give, you know, insights, give, and then ask. You know, it's how do you be a person that people come to because you honestly are there saying, how can I help you? You know, and I'll do that with people too, different business owners, like, how can I help you? If I can't help you, maybe I know somebody that can help you.
Yes.
And I'll put you together. So being cooperative in everything that you're doing and giving, like Felicia's saying, it's just, you know, it's the highest good for everybody involved.
Right.
Yes.
And I would imagine that you two got into it for the same reason, but this is what led me to be a coach in the first place. Is I always saw the best in someone, what they could be, and that's the most important part of. I think that's what draws us to other people, is when they see what you can be, you can see it in yourself, and if you have somebody believing in you, you can attain whatever it is that you want.
Right. And then that's, yes, like you were saying, Andrea, that's the other reason why I do what I'm doing as well. And being able to collaborate with people and I find myself saying, have you ever thought of doing it this way? Or maybe like this, or maybe like that, you know, and they're like, oh, I've never thought of it that way. And then it just builds on each other, you know, and then all of a sudden it just opened up because they had that resistance before. I've had clients say, like, you know, I don't want to hire anybody, you know, so it's all like, that is probably the reason why you're not moving forward. Because you only have so much time. You only have so much time to be able to do what it is that you're doing. And if you don't utilize technology or individuals in a certain way with key things that are not your strengths, then it'll feel like you're just in this small area and you can't expand. They're like, we're at our peak. How can we move forward? Well, let's address the area of hiring someone or possibilities of different things. So, yeah. So true.
Yes, a coach is so true, Athina. A coach is really key to having a successful life. We, all three of us, have our own coaches. We have our mentors, and we have clients that we're coaching. And you cannot do it alone because the mind is so powerful. You mean well. You think, I can do this, I can handle this, but the mind is overpowering. But when you have a coach that you connect with, you have to connect with your coach. You can't just arbitrarily select any coaches. But if you find the one that connects with you and your coach is there to support you, motivate you, and tell you, because like Athina was saying, we always see the best in people, as well as Andrea. We always see the best, but ourselves, sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. And that's why when we have a coach, they keep us there, elevated, motivated, inspired. We feel like we can conquer the world because we can. If we haven't up until now, it's only because we're listening to our small mind. So to have a coach that you connect with, your life is going to change in ways like you never even saw possible or even imagined it to happen. But it does happen. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're talking with someone and you feel more expansive, you feel like, oh, there's something here that I haven't seen before as you're communicating with them, or you feel you have that feeling, then that's going to be somebody that has that ability to be able to help you to move on. Because sometimes I run into people where they'll hire somebody just for the fact that all of these other people seem to be doing that, you know, but they don't really internalize the information, and they didn't really get the help out of what the relationship that they had. It's because it's very important to be able to talk with the person, or if you resonate, if when you listen to the material, it actually helps you see things in a different way, that means that it's beneficial to you. If you hear it, it kind of like went in one ear out the other, then that's not the person that's going to help you to be able to move forward.
Okay. So if a person resists a situation, they will always have it with them. And we've been saying that throughout this webinar. The more that you concentrate on a problem, the more that problem will grow. If you concentrate on sickness, you will continue to be sick. You have to move past the problem and towards the solution. And it's as simple as that.
Very true. If I feel an ache in my body, I just say, I'm well. I'm well. My body is well. And I focus on something else. I don't start focusing on this little pain that I'm feeling and trying to figure it out. Wonder what it could be. I wonder why. What should I be doing? No, it's just, I'm well, because the body does heal itself. Because this is the operating system right here, our mind. So if you tell it that you're well, I've tried it. Okay, I'm not talking about huge illnesses, but before it gets huge, it's a small illness. And the small one, yes, if I keep telling myself I am well, the pain stops. The pain will go away. I'm just asking you guys to try it. What do you ladies think? Does the body heal itself if you give it the right thoughts?
Yeah.
Absolutely possible. And it takes rigor.
Yes.
It's not just like, oh, I think I feel okay. No, you have to really concentrate on the thought of wellness and see every cell in your body actually healing. And that's not to say that you don't do anything, take any action towards healing, but your mindset is critically important to every action that you do take.
Yeah, and there's a difference between saying like I'm well, or saying something like that, but then the thought in your mind is like, I don't know, I doubt that, you know, because some people will say it, but then actually what's going on in their mind is more of like, I don't 100% believe that, you know. So then you have this mixed type of feeling about it. But if you can honestly be like, I'm well, this is just a situation where maybe I twisted wrong, maybe I did this, you know, and just, you know, I'll be fine, you know, body heals itself, and you really believe that, then you're going to be able to do that.
You are always the highest authority of yourself, regardless of what any doctor, what any coach, what any loved one, what any friend says. Your opinion is the most important.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Okay. And again, we are not doctors, and we do not in any way espouse that you should not go and see a doctor.
No.
That is not what we're saying. Okay. Accept the condition as some evidence of good. And I think we talked about this in the law of success and the law of increase. See the good in a situation. There's good in every situation. And it's maybe only a seed, but if you grow that seed and you nurture that seed, it will grow. Always look for the good. That's being a person of increase, and it's also being a person of non-resistance.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, because you can feel that. You can You can sense that in your body. If something does feel good, you feel like you're more expanded, like you feel like your heart's opened up. And then when it doesn't feel good, you just feel, you just feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. You have that feeling. So you really want to move towards where you're feeling more expanded.
And our mentor, Mary Morrissey, always says, her mantra is, the content of your life is the curriculum for your evolution. So whatever's happening in your life is for your highest good. And if you understand that, then it's much easier to navigate.
Yes.
We're good?
We're good.
Okay. Okay, so look for that good as being accepted and being by, I can't read. Look for that good, and by being acceptable to it, more and more evidence of it appears. And that goes right back to whatever we give energy to grows. Mm-hmm. It's just that simple.
Yeah, it's like if you say, this is working for me, and then your mind is looking for evidence of that. And the opposite is true. If you're like, this never works for me, see, this happened, and this happened, and this happened. So it'll be the same thing. So it's being mindful of what are you looking at and making sure to look for the good.
Noticing all the time what sort of thought patterns you're having. Is it for your best, or is it going to go against what you really want to create in your life?
Yeah, and I think we've used that phrase of notice what you're noticing.
Yes, we do as coaches. And it works. It's amazing. Once you know and you keep noticing what you're noticing, you go, oh, okay, my point of attraction is good. I'm on the right path. Or you could say, I'm not feeling so good. What thoughts am I having? And then shift if you can in that minute, in that moment.
Yeah, and some people have the misconception that as you are progressing and growing and going through different experiences, that any doubts and fears that you have are going to completely go away. So you're always going to be in bliss. And it's like, that is not the case.
That is so not the case.
So, because as you're progressing, you may have, moved past a certain point, but now you're in a new realm. So new things will come up, but you have a different perspective now on how to handle those things. And I think it was a while back, Felicia was mentioning something where she said, I moved forward in something, and then I noticed that I didn't have this anxious feeling anymore about the situation. And then she was looking for, where did that go? And it's all like, stop looking for it. Just keep going. So we share with each other about what we're going through. And I just really remember that. And I've shared that with people and letting them know that if you move into something that you used to have a fear about, or you used to have something that would come up and you didn't have that anymore this time, don't go looking for it. You're in the right place now. Keep moving forward. So yeah.
And you know, when you go past a challenge or a contrast, it doesn't mean that you're never going to be faced with challenges anymore, because these challenges or these contrasts, whatever comes in our way, is only there for our evolution and our growth.
Right.
And we are all here on this planet Earth to grow, whether we want to or not. You either follow the flow or not. But if you don't, now your life becomes in shambles. It's miserable. Everything is happening to you. That's what you think, but it's not. It's just work with the law and accept the challenges, accept the contrast, and say, okay, this is from my growth. Okay, so let me sift through. And what's good in this situation that I can turn into an opportunity and let go of what it is that I do not want.
Right.
So that's a life work, an on work that we have to keep doing every day.
Yeah.
And you always have that choice, right? You
Yes.
get to choose whether you want it to go well or you don't want it to go well, whether you want it to go easy or you don't want it to go easy. And we're not ever saying you're going to be, like Athina said, eternally blissful. You're not.
No.
We are humans, and we experience life through polarity. So there's going to be sadness, there's going to be anger, there's going to be all kinds of things. These are just tools to navigate through those feelings and understand that we're here to feel them all.
Yes.
Yeah, and then one thing to look at if you're kind of listening to this information and figuring out, how can I identify some of this? One way is to look at patterns that happen in your life. That would be one area to be able to see, like, ooh, I'm going into this pattern again, like I've had before. So what is it that I can change in this? How can I respond to this differently? How can I take different action? So maybe it has been that you were looking at what you didn't want in the situation. So it's all like, okay, let me shift and go and look in this direction. And this is really what I do want. And go in that direction.
Exactly. So the law reads, we attract what we expect. And we've been saying that throughout this webinar.
Mm-hmm.
What you expect is mostly what you're going to get. There are times that, oh my goodness, I didn't expect that. I mean, life always throws us little curveballs. But if you're expecting something to be awful, you can be pretty darn sure it's going to be awful.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, yes. So why not expect only good things? And then only good things shall come our way. Why don't we just do that? Wouldn't that be beautiful if we could just do that? Expect only the best. That's what we're working on every day when we're using all these beautiful tools and principles to help us keep us on track, to only expect the things that we want. Expect wanted things only. And the contrast, the polarity that Andrea was saying, it only comes there from time to time. Why? Because it's going to help us grow and go past it and evolve. That's the only way we're going to grow. Because if the things that come to us are always perfect, what is there to work on? We wouldn't be able to grow. We wouldn't be able to evolve if everything would be beautiful.
We wouldn't see it.
We wouldn't see it. We wouldn't appreciate it. We wouldn't appreciate anything. We would take everything for granted. So bless the things that come our way that are not wanted and know that you're growing from that the good things are coming because of it. Yeah.
So with whatever degree the wise one, and that's a critical word there, with whatever degree the wise one meets the law with non-resistance, so they will benefit. So what that's saying is, at whatever awareness you're at is how you will benefit. And when you increase your awareness, you will benefit more.
Yes.
And it's all about awareness and increasing your awareness and becoming aligned with all of these principles and experimenting with them and using them and seeing how they work. And once you actually become aware and then everything looks differently and you'll be able to design your life much easier.
An easy way for me to do that, I go with emotions. So I know that if I'm feeling good, joyous, happy, then I know that I'm on the right path. I'm connected with who I really am at my core, my true nature. And the things that are coming and expecting are going to be those things that I want. So sometimes it's very difficult to monitor your thoughts. Is this a good one or is this a bad one? Is this a good positive one? Is this in my higher good? It's too complicated. It's too difficult. So I just use emotions. The best way to do it is to go with emotions. So you notice how you're feeling in that moment. And if you're feeling good, that means you're having the right thoughts. You're creating what you want. Mm-hmm. If not, it's just a question to ask yourself, let me stop here for a moment. Can I figure out what the issue is? Can I resolve it? If you can, go for it, work on it. If not, you can either schedule an appointment with it in 3 days or press the pause button or change your focus, look at something that's going to make you feel good, but something needs to be done. But as long as your emotions are one of happiness and love and joyous, and I know it sounds like, oh, we can't live like that. I'm not saying all day long, moments throughout your day, you are on the right path. You don't need too much time to stay there, even if it's 5 minutes at a time. That's huge in a person's life. It is huge. So I just wanted to add that I like to work with my emotions.
Yeah. And it's being mindful to don't beat yourself up if you fall into, it's like, oh, I really had a bad moment, and it's just move, like the non-resistance, move along, choose a better path for yourself.
Yeah, that's absolutely so true. We're not perfect. We never will be perfect.
Never.
Just move it. Be like water. What can I say? Be like water. So thus, a person applies the spirit of non-resistance to all of the principles of their daily lives, not to the conditions. And that's the key right there, is to look past your conditions, because as coaches, we do believe that each and every one of us is far greater than any circumstance, situation, or condition. So this law speaks to that very clearly. Look past your condition. And as you do that, so you will be proportionately blessed.
Mm-hmm.
You are not defined by your conditions. That does not mean that we ignore them. It does not mean that we don't even address them. We don't let them define us, and we don't let it hold us back. That's the difference. I just came into a house, and the condition was that it was really expensive. And if I had just looked at the conditions, I would have said, oh, I can't have that house. I didn't look past that. I said, what? I did look past that. I didn't look at the condition. All I said was, I would love that house and all the things I can do in it. And sure enough, the universe responded and found a way for me to actually have that house and live in it for very little money, and actually have ownership of it as well. So it was working with non-resistance, staying in the question of what I would love, and allowing it to be this or something better still. Mm-hmm. If you use these tools, the tools work.
They absolutely do, Andrea. It's beautiful.
And I think, oh, okay.
One more, I think.
Remove and dissolve every obstacle by blessing it and being willing to understand it. So if you see an obstacle, understand why it's there in your way. What is it there to help you learn?
Mm-hmm.
And bless it for the gift that it truly is, because if it's something to help you learn, well, that's something you didn't know yesterday, and you're that much more of a grown person. And when you understand it, then everything settles peacefully inside of you. Anybody else have anything?
You covered it.
Okay.
We're good.
And this is the cornerstone of our teaching. Mark it no longer a stumbling block, but as a stepping stone leading to our highest good. And that's what we talk about in most of our programs, is instead of obstacles, they're stepping stones towards our dream. We never let anything stop us.
That's right. Turn every obstacle into an opportunity. Now you got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes, and thank you very much, Andrea, for doing the slides, and we were able to follow along, and Felicia and I giving our perspectives. It was great for that. So I think if we stop the slides, I think we're close to the end. So yes, we wanted to provide you with the gift, and the gift is spending time with one of us to be able to dive into this information further. And you'll see inside of the chat area, there is an offer on there. You can click on that and it will take you to a page where you can request being able to meet with one of us. So that's available to you. And also inside of that chat area is the Facebook link. So you can go on there and click on there, click like for the page, and then all of our events are on there. And let's see, and we do have these webinars going on once a month, and there is a calendar that you can click on and download, and it'll give you the rest of the year and when those are going to be, so you can post that and remember that for yourself. And when you do register for the webinar, there is an option to be able to sign up for the rest of them too, so you'll automatically receive reminders instead of having to do every single one of those that come up. So that's available to you as well, and you can actually see us live. So if you'd like to see Andrea or Felicia or I or any of the other members of Mastermind Magic, we do post our events on the Mastermind Magic Facebook page. And I believe Felicia has something coming up that she wants to let everybody know about.
Thank you, Athina. Yes, I do. I have a workshop coming up next month, Saturday, September the 1st. I will post the details on the Mastermind Facebook page. So if you are in Montreal visiting or residing, I would love to see you join me at one of my workshops where I teach and share and coach on the different tools and principles that I live by and my fellow coaches. And so if you're in the area, please join me. Watch for the details on the Mastermind Facebook page. Thank you, Athina. And now, Andrea, I think she has something she'd like to share as well.
Yes, on September 1st as well, I will be hosting an open house at my new location, which is 2001 Main Street in Lake Como, New Jersey. And it's a mile from the beach. So come down to the beach. September is the best time to be at the beach and check everything out. I hope to see you all there.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Andrea and Felicia. And I actually have a few things coming up. On the business Facebook page, you will see a webinar series. It's called the Law of Mathematics. And every month we're going into different areas. So we went over your importance of why. This month, we're actually going to be going over how to identify your ideal client. So we're going over demographic, psychographic information, and then we're going to be going into how to attract that person, like we were talking about a little bit earlier, on what you're thinking and what the response is to you, and then also how to market to them. So if you're in business and you would like to participate in that, that's going to be on the Facebook page as well. And there's also this coming up. You'll see a little flyer. That's also posted on there. And you, if you're around the area of Roseville, California, you can attend live, or you can actually, we're going to live stream it as well. So if you would like to participate, you can go to the Facebook page and be able to register, and we'll send you the link to be able to join in live with us, be able to participate, ask questions, be part of the workshop. So we look forward to being able to do that. And we're coming to the end here, and we'll bring everybody up to say goodbye. And I will post the link, just in case you don't have it, is to our next event, is there in the chat area. And we went a little bit over, but we gave some great information, and we're just honored that you came and you joined us today for the webinar. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Namaste. Bye, everyone.